Welcome to Business Weekly, the show where we talk strategies, systems, and success stories that help you build a business and the life you were born to lead. I'm your host, Miss J, your drip strategist, boss methodologist, and your hostess with the mostest. And I'm here on Love Bay. I hope to start with the wrong word. Love Bay, Afrobeat Music Talk Radio, each and every week, right here, Thursdays at 7 p.m. We are all about leveling up our drive, our resilience, our innovation, and our progression. Now, what's today's topic? Well, we know it's the power of vision. And vision isn't just what you see with your eyes, it's what you hold in your spirit long before it becomes visible to the world. And so it's something that it's exciting. It's a feeling if you've ever, and I mean, most CEOs do, but if you've never had that feeling of having something come to life, you should try it out. I mean, I used to think that was me in baking. Clearly, not so much. So I went back and did what I do best. I went to business. Now it's time for one of the favorite parts of my show that is becoming quite, quite a fave is the Dear Miss J. Now, let me tell you something. This is where I get a chance to respond to real letters from listeners that are navigating business and leadership. And so if you have a letter, send it in. Just send it to info@empirebydesign.ca. And if it's something I can answer, I'll put it on the show. If it's something that I can't answer, well, I'll figure it out and answer it anyways. So today, what is our Dear Miss J letter? Well, this person wrote in and said, I've been building my business for 3 years and I'm realizing that my original vision doesn't excite me anymore. I've grown, but my dream hasn't. I feel torn between staying consistent and starting over. How do I know when it's time to rewrite my vision or just recommit to it? That sounds like your vision is at a crossroad, honey. So we got to talk to you about that. Well, dear CEO, remember that growth will always challenge your old vision. The dream doesn't fail, it evolves. I'm going to say that again for you. The dream doesn't fail, it evolves. So don't be afraid to reimagine it. Ask yourself, does the vision still stretch me, still serve me, still speak to who I am or who I am becoming? I want to run that through you again. Does your vision still stretch me? Does it serve me? And does it speak to who I am becoming? Well, if the answer is no, then it's time to start the revisioning process. But don't be regretful about it. Because at the time that you started the vision, that's who you were. And when I'm coaching, I always say, I don't coach businesses, I coach CEOs, right? I help you strengthen who you are so you become better at what you do. And when you go through that growth process, when you're leveling up your drip, then your boss changes. Your business, your operations, your systems, they all change. Hey, Mom, what's up, girls? We find the building. My girl Stave sending a shout out, condolences again, girl. Good to see that you're still on the up. It's good to see that you're still showing up and you're still showing out. All right, so we're going to do what we got to do. All right, now coming back to my crossroads, remember every empire needs renovations before expansion. So it's not a bad thing. Sometimes we think that we should still be excited about the first sale. We should still be excited about the initial vision, but that's not necessarily how it works. In fact, you want to get excited with the fact that you actually are getting tired, which says that there's something about you that has passed into a new realm of growth, a new realm of evolution. And that's the best thing. Now, when I do I find that when I'm doing these letters, it's so much easier to find guests who can resonate with these topics. Because, sometimes, as coaches, we kind of go hard, or strategists, we're always strategically doing what we have to do. But when you think about vision, we recognize that it's the person that drives the vision, and that's how I build the blueprint for your design. Hence why my company is called Empire by Design, because every blueprint represents the builder, right? And leaders have to learn that to hold the picture, even when the process gets messy, when you get a little tired or you're getting a little burnt out, it's really important to continue to have the vision face in forefront, because when you misplace your focus off of the vision, then it leads to burnout and it's going to lead to confusion. And when you rewrite your vision statement to match your why, you'll realize it's not about just your goals. It's about what you're trying to do for the people that you're trying to serve. or the animals or the water, the earth, whatever it is, right? So I want to leave you with this quote. If you lose your vision, you lose your velocity. Okay, that momentum is going to slow all the way down. And in fact, it's going to become more of an albatross than it is an award. And so keep the vision alive. Don't be afraid to have an expanded vision. Don't be afraid to be, what's that word? I want to say, don't be afraid to just let the mind wander and see where it can take you, because we don't always have to be in a box. And so, why am I excited? Because tonight, um, talking about this topic on the power of vision, is joining me is a woman whose name is synonymous with purpose and vision, none other than Dr. Nikki Clark, FIIM. I'm gonna have to ask her what those stand for, but sounds like a lot of great letters, right? Nikki Clark is an award-winning media entrepreneur, educator, accomplished singer, songwriter, author, and motivational speaker dedicated to transforming lives through storytelling and empowerment. She is the founder and host of The Nikki Clark Show. She broadcasts on Afro Global Television and is celebrating 17 years now. Could we say that's power of vision? Yes, honey. Okay. Of uplifting interviews with change makers across Canada and beyond. As the founder of the Nikki Clark Network, Dr. Clark provides a full range of media and marketing services, including video production, brand promotion, digital storytelling, social media campaigns, and business mentorship. She also leads Clark Media Arts, offering youth training programs in broadcasting, graphic design, and social media safety. Now, you thought I was finished. Well, just keep looking at the pic, honey. She's also a gifted artist. She has performed across Canada, captivating audiences with soulful and inspirational music that blends purpose and passion. And she's the author of two amazing products, The Paperclip Princess, a heartwarming children's book that teaches entrepreneurship, creativity, and confidence, and the Black Canadian History Coloring Book, which celebrates the achievements and contributions of Black Canadians. Her books are available online at Indigo Bookstores in Windsor, Tecumseh, Erin Mills, Brampton, Mount Sinai Hospital, as well as the Amherstburg Freedom Museum. So wherever you are, make sure you reach out and get a copy of the book, because this is where the Black Canadian History Coloring Book is also available there too. Her continued mission is to empower others to discover purpose, embrace self-love, and turn dreams into impactful realities. Nikki, welcome to Business Weekly. Let's have her come to the stage, y'all. Hey, hey, hey.
Wow. Thank
How
you
are you?
so much for that phenomenal introduction, Miss J. It is such an honor to be here with you at Love Bay. Love Bay is
Yes,
all
honey.
about the love. So I am so honored and grateful. And you look
Well,
lovely, always.
well, girl, you know, I clean up nice on a Thursday sometimes. I just keeps it cute.
Thank you.
How about you? Look lovely as
Thank you.
well.
You know, we try. We try to
Girl, let me
keep
tell
it
you,
up.
we
Keep
just
it
gotta
up.
keep it.
Yep. Yep.
We just gotta keep
We
it
are role
cute. We just gotta
models, you know.
exactly. And you know, for the audience, I'm excited for today because why? Nikki truly speaking, not just from experience, but I've watched her grow. I remember where I met Nikki,
Yeah.
and this is craziness because I was at an event when I saw her and I said, that
Nikki?
looks like, and then she said, hey, and I said, hey, Nikki and I go all the way back to that channel.
Hello.
This was what, probably 2000,
2008.
2000, right? And at the time, I was doing a show with my girl Ness
Yes.
because I owned a dance company at the
Mhm.
time, and we were doing media and marketing for our dancers,
Yes.
and we had a show called Hot City
I
Buzz.
love
And let
that
me
show.
tell you, yeah, it was the funniest show because we didn't know what we were doing, but we started watching Nikki to kind of figure out what, because she had her show as well, and she was just playing the game, and so we were just like watching her and taking notes, and
We were both
going back
taking
on air.
notes for she goes.
Yeah, we were just copious notes, copious notes. And when I saw her and I said, Nikki, girl, you still? And she said, yep, I'm still in the game, and I had to do one of these because I about what 10 episodes in that channel. I'm like, yo, bro, I'm out. This is too much work.
It's a
It was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. But and here I am today, right? Full circle. I've been on the mic all my life, but to this level of commitment is real. And so this to me is an amazing topic to have you here to discuss, because we're going to jump into what the power of 17 years is fueled by. So that's what we want to know. So you've built an incredible media legacy that's rooted in storytelling. How did your original vision for your brand begin?
Well, that's a wonderful question. And yes, thank you so much again for, bringing me back to those early days at that channel when I was navigating the space of media and trying to kind of figure out what my purpose was. So let me take you back to actually getting to meet you and your amazing partner of the show at the time. I was teaching at Sheridan College in the Faculty of Early Childhood Education. So my career was rooted in education. And but leading up to becoming a teacher, I actually had this notion that I was going to be a world-class reporter. And I was going to travel the world, and I was going to uncover all these juicy stories and, bring justice, social justice, and that. But that didn't happen. I ended up doing the teacher route, probably because I told my parents I was going to be a world-class reporter, and my disciplinary and academically driven Jamaican parents said, "What? No. You can't be a teacher, a lawyer, a doctor, but don't be no family disgrace." So I chose the teacher route. And I did that happily, joyfully, but I kind of wanted something that addressed my creative side. And when I was invited to thatchannel.com for an interview, remember Blue?
Yes.
Shout out to Blue if you're watching the show. Blue had a show, and she invited me to come on, and she interviewed me, and I was talking about some of the community initiatives that I was involved in supporting families and educators. And after the show was done, the station owner, Hugh Riley, said, I think it'd be great for a show. So that's what dropped the seed in my spirit about maybe starting this whole media mission.
I missed him.
Yeah.
He was such a nice
guy. A wonderful man. And so that's when it started, August 2008. And I said, okay, maybe this is the nudge that I needed to take a leap of faith and to start a show that addressed my own needs of being creative, and also looking at the media space as an opportunity to invite people from all walks of life to come on and share their heart stories. But let's start with artists first. So that's what I did. I invited artists to come and to, show their naked talent. So it was like no auto-tune, no special effects, backup dancers, just a mic and a mixer. And they had to perform really well because it was live, no editing. So it's okay. October 2018, and I said, let's start this show. At the time, it was called And the Beat Goes On, and then the name changed to the Nikki Clark Show. But I said, let's do it. So Monday to Friday, Miss J, I was Miss Nikki Clark teaching, and then Saturday nights at 8:00, I was Nix on the Mix. So I took on this personality, and I'm like, yes, I can do both worlds: corporate, fun, and entertaining. So the show launched October 2008, and I'm like, great, now I need guests. How do I get guests? That part I didn't really, kind of think through. But before, Instagram became the gram, there was Facebook, and I left a message on my Facebook feed, and I said, okay, looking for guests, got a show, keep it locked. That was my tagline. And then I got a message. From a young man named Abel, 19-year-old I met at an open mic, the summer before. And he said, Miss Nikki, he's so polite. He said, Miss Nikki, I'd like to come on your show. Do you think I'd be any good? And I said, well, you know what? Don't embarrass me, because it's going to be live, and you gotta type. make sure the sound is tight. So he came
Yeah.
on, and everybody's mouths kind of dropped to the ground, their jaws dropped to the ground when he did something a cappella. A super talented young man. Later on in life, we know him as The Weeknd. So what that did, Miss Jay,
That's what I'm talking about. Trailblazing, honey. Trailblazing.
so
That is exactly what it
absolutely.
is.
So, Miss J, that was my confirmation that this was more than just a hobby. This was more than just a whim. And the vision grew to something even more than just a pocket of entertainment. It became a platform to allow people to take their mask off and to be
Mhm.
authentic and to release stories that maybe they didn't have the right space to unpack. And the show
Right.
would give them that opportunity to do that. And with this cathartic release of emotions, they could heal. And then people who were listening would go, oh man, I'm not alone in that
Right.
particular situation. And the show also gave them resources. So I said, okay, this is what I'm going to do. But I got to a crossroad in my life after a year in the show, and it was growing in popularity online. I was getting people from Motown Records saying, you know, can we bring our artists on? People from
I remember.
Asia, from, you know, different parts of the world were tugging at me and saying, I want in, I want in. And then I had papers to mark. So I said, all right, I have to make a decision. Am I going to do teaching well for another 20 years until I get my pension or so? Or am I going to take this leap of faith and see where
Yes.
this show is going to take me? So I prayed about it. And I said, okay, this is it. I'm going to take a leap of faith. And that year, 2009,
Mhm.
I said, I said to my students, this is my last year. And it was a very tearful departure. I love teaching. I love my students, but I knew that there were destinies tied behind what I needed to do. So that's where the vision
Right.
grew. And you know, Miss J, I saw something very beautiful at that particular year, 2009. I said, this could really be a community hub. I think this can be something that can like have an intersection of different cultures and
Yes.
different languages and different you know, emotional needs and business needs. They could meet in one space. They could network.
Mhm.
They could learn from each other. They could probably strike up great friendships or businesses. I've had a couple meet on the show and get married. Like you don't know
Look at you.
when you come on the show. So
Just changing lives all the which ways.
exactly. So it just needed to start, and
That's it.
and that's what happened. But here's the thing with having a vision is that sometimes the vision is presented to you as it was presented to me, and my initial desire was to create a space, a real space for voices
Yeah.
that were often overlooked.
Right.
And it came from a place where I felt I was overlooked. You know, growing up as the, you know, the only Black family in a French neighborhood in Montreal. I you know, came originally from Jamaica, and as a young girl, my parents migrated to Montreal looking for, you know, the land of milk and honey and all the great opportunities that were presented to them. But they had to learn a lot of things like overcoming certain barriers. And I
Right.
witnessed those as a child. And there were times where I felt silenced because I was, you know, I felt othered because I did
Mhm.
the language or I looked different. So I
Right.
said, whenever I had an opportunity to, you know, in my adult years to create a real space and a safe space, I would do that because I remember those years
Mhm.
as a little girl and I didn't feel great. So this was my passion, my desire to create the space, and it was a vision driven by my need to serve, inspire, and uplift. And
Love that.
you know, Miss J, it's been 17 years of transforming lives one story at a time, and I can't say that it was ever a platform about fame. It was always about impact.
Mhm. I love it. I mean, shit. I mean, oh, soup. Sorry, shoot. Oh, you're sorry. That was powerful. It just got into my soul. I think it's just sitting here and listening to you, and it's just bringing back all the memories of things that we did. And Vanessa says it best all the time. I call her Ness, and it was Ness and Jay or Jay and
Shout
Ness.
out to
And
Ness.
right, shout out to my girl Ness. Yes, honey, Touch International. That's what we did. That's what we did. We were, leading. And she always said it. She said, the days we started those things, you on the radio, us doing dance, Luther Brown, Julie Black, like that was our era. Jay Blaze, you know what I mean? Shout out to the whole Jane and Finch strip. Um, we did things without being taught about things. It was just in our soul.
Yeah.
It was in our blood. Like it was dancing. I remember where we used to practice. Like Luther didn't care where, if there was ground to walk on. He was like, y'all show up for practice. We were practicing in doctor parking lots, like doctors' offices, parking lots outside of the community center. And we didn't think about it in terms of trailblazing. We just had that passion to help, and we wanted others. And if you look at some of the people that we've worked with, or we've trained, or we've coached, or or we've shared with, or we've supported, it's I feel like I'm walking down memory lane right now.
Same.
I'll never forget, what I mean, going in every week. I think my show was Friday, and we, I just had my license, and me and Ness got in the car, and we were forever late because we didn't realize downtown traffic was
Was a big,
and
mm-hmm.
right. And when we were talking, we started Hot City Buzz because we wanted to talk about all the great things that was happening in our neighborhoods, right? The things that people weren't seeing in Jane and Finch, right? They just thought we were Finch kids and we were not going to make it. We weren't going to get out. They always said we had 4 strikes. We were Black. We lived in Jane and Finch. We lived in Metro housing. And for us, we were women or girls, and we weren't going to get far in those times. And I think that's what the fire came for me, and why I have this particular passion for women is because it's to show them that you look at like Julie Black, that was the first celebrity I danced for. That was my first routine. Luther Brown did the choreography, and it was me, Luther, and a few others, Kwame and them. And we were in that stage dancing because why? We knew that Julie was a talent, and we all had our individual talents, and we were good at coming together as a community.
Yes.
We were good at that. We were good at seeing that there were things out there that needed to be addressed. And although we weren't educated, we didn't have PhDs, we didn't have internet, we didn't have all of that stuff. It was our brains and our guts and our hearts that did most of the talking. And that's why I always give homage to people like you who stayed in it. You weren't paid. We weren't getting massive grants and funding. Nothing. It was by dry eye and faith that we were out there building in the trenches, right? So when I hear certain things today, I'm like, stop talking. We've been in this game. Like when you hit that
paid our
quarter-century
dues.
call,
We paid our dues.
we paid it. We paid it. My kid was probably 3, 4, 5 months at the time, and I was pumping milk so I could trek down and do this show. And it wasn't even like it was a luxurious studio. It was a room.
Very simple.
The box.
Very simple. But with a lot of brilliant people in there that made it so electric,
Exactly. Yeah. And that's what turned it up. That's what turned it up. Share a time when your vision was tested, because I mean, you spoke very clearly around how you kept your original vision while still supporting others. But when was a time where you just said, is it really the way? Jesus, take the wheel.
Jesus, take the wheel. I actually say that quite a lot. Jesus, please take this wheel. Take this cup from me, please. And then, prayer is answered. But I have to say that navigating this space as a woman tested me quite a bit because, it's changing now. The landscape of media is changing, but in those early 2000s, it was quite male dominated. And
Yes.
when you are doing something novel in that space, you might have these very dominant opinions about, as a woman, how you should speak, what kind of way you should present yourself, and what topics will bring views. But
Mhm.
my mission was never about a billion views. It was about meeting a community need
Yes.
and sowing the right seeds that would plant really good and positive harvest. So when someone tells me, and I've heard it, show more of your assets, and that way you get more views.
Yeah.
That was like the the countdown for me to say au revoir, and that's why I turned down some syndicated, spots. I turned down, and I won't name the networks, but I said I'm going to battle this on my own. I believe in my mission, and I'm going to find the way to get the funding so I can hire my own team of camera operators. I'm going to have my own editing team. I'm going to get a location, and no one's going to boss me around or compromise my values.
Right.
So, man, that was hard. getting the funding, getting
Yeah.
the funding, because here's what I did. I jumped head first into this mission, and then came up for air later, trying to figure out how to build a model. So
Yeah.
I would have to say, learning that big misstep was that when you do have this grand vision, have a good plan too,
Yeah.
and have a really decent model, a
Ooh,
business
say that
plan.
again so they could hear it in the back.
Have a good business plan, and have someone you can trust, or a community of people who you can trust, that will tell you what you're doing wrong and what you're doing right,
Mhm.
and build from there. I made a huge mistake in building the model after it happened, so
Right.
don't
Yeah,
do
don't do it. Thank you. That was endorsed by none other than Nikki Clark. He
that.
says it. No, Nikki Clark said it too. Seriously, that's the mountaintop, the mountaintop for me. I've worked in community for 30 plus years, especially in the low income communities and the challenging areas. And there's so much talent. There's so much talent and in these neighborhoods. And the plan, it's the plan. It's the plan. Like, you don't understand that when you can take your vision and structure it to a place where it makes sense and people can see it, it attracts people.
Mhm.
You know, they say build it and they will come,
Yes.
and I find that there's not enough wrap around that word. I find that more and more people are getting sucked in by what they see on social media. Remember, it was TV. Like, you watch TV and you were watching Electric Circus, or you were watching all these shows that literally kickstart the Toronto scene. Cardinal Official came out, and you know what I mean. Who knew Drake? Nobody had Drake that them time there. It was, you had, people who were just coming straight from those neighborhoods, right?
Yes.
Shout out
Yeah.
to Drake because he's repping Toronto at a different
Big,
level.
Master
Mhm.
T.
Master
Mhm.
T, like, we could go on here for
Michael
hours,
Williams was, my mentor.
right?
Yeah,
You see
yeah.
what I'm saying?
I
And
give
so,
homage to them.
yeah, and I always hail up Georgette, D of Georgie Porgy, Cakes and
Yes.
Gifts. She was one of the, like I said, one of the first pioneers in our community to go full time and run a business that she had no idea what she was doing, but she had a vision. She
Good.
wanted to stop kids from eating candy, so she said, let's replace it with books and this and that, whatever the case is, right?
Perfect.
Shout out to all my ladies coming in. Before we keep going on with Miss Nikki Clark, let's welcome
Cheers,
some of our
ladies.
audience straight into Love Day Radio today, right here. Make sure, if you are just tuning in, I'm sitting here with none other than Dr. Nikki Clark. Extraordinaire. That's all I have to say, because if I read her bio again, honey, we will need another show. But yes,
Thank you.
welcome. What up, T? Tara from Tara's Vegan Cuisine in the building. I see COC Socials. Miss Georgette is in the building. I see none other than Miss Shanika, Captured by Shani. Check out her new podcast, Always Been That Girl. Loved it. Watched the first episode. Definitely having her and Cam Shuka come on and talk to us about it. Asantiem, I'm not sure who that is, but hello. Welcome to the show. So we're here talking about the power of vision. Our dear Miss J letter, this was about visions at a crossroad. People who are coming to a point that they've only been in it for 3 years, 4 years. And sometimes I smile because I think about how many years I've been doing business, and and then the things that we kept doing to be here today. But I want you all to take in these gems, because the people that I bring on here, as I always say, they're not just subject matter experts. They are visions of my 3 C's: commitment, consistency, and community. Let's jump back in. Women, as women of leadership, how do we discern between a new direction and a distraction?
That's a great question. A new direction aligns with your purpose. So it may be uncomfortable, but it's necessary to get you to where you need to be. And you're invigorated by the journey. Distraction is not an alignment, and it takes you away from what the mission is. And it ends up draining your energy. So whenever you are involved in anything, test it. Is it going to inspire? And it's not going to be easy, but is it going to inspire and give you like the ignition you need to keep it going? Or are you going to be drained?
Yes.
An ongoing drain, that's a distraction. And it can show up in friends, it can show up in families, it can show up in, work relationships, it can show up in projects. So test it. And if it's just pulling you down, as my father used to tell me, walk quietly out of the lion's den. So what that means is put your diplomatic hat on and just say, it's not you, it's me. Or you know what, this is a really fantastic project. However, it's not in alignment with my purpose, but I wish you all the best. And that's it.
That's it. All right, y'all. She's just doing mic drops. It's not within my alignment. Deuce. That's the way it is. You've been.
Has it happened to you, Miss J, where you just like, this is not the direction for me? This is a full-blown distraction. Yeah. Does that happen?
That was the city of Toronto for 30 years. No, I'm joking. No, I'm joking. I really am. No, I loved my job, but there were times, especially in business, where I had to say, yeah, this is not where I'm trying to go. And I think the more you stay in business, the stronger you become with that instinct. Yes. I believe that, you start to see things before they even manifest, right? Like sometimes you walk through and you've got had, or you put in money and the others didn't. And, like I've been left out of my ass money-wise for a lot, because I was a person that I get locked in. Like if I think it's a good idea and I'm like, okay, I'll put up the funds. I got no problem. What we spending, what we doing, what we ordering.
Right.
I find out really quickly that a lot of people have mouth and they don't have any cash to back that mouth. And you have to be very aware of what you're committing yourself to, because if you're going to commit, you have to be able to follow through. Right. And so I've had those moments. None of us are coming out of these trenches, not with the little scars, right? But the difference is, how do we use those wounds? Are we still licking them, or did we patch them up and keep it moving? And, I've learned over time, I don't get emotionally attached to anything in business. It's a concept, it's an idea. What I do get attached to is the people that I'm serving. I get attached to their outcomes. I get attached to their vision and their dreams. And sometimes I'm pushing harder than they can take. And I'm like, I have to pull back and say, I hear you, I see you, I understand where you're trying to go. And then 30 seconds later, I'm like, but I don't really care. Let's fly. So, you learn from it. Especially in the media landscape that we're in, things have changed so much, so constantly. How did you've been in this for 17 years plus. So how have you adapted your vision without losing your authenticity?
That's a great question. What happened for me was just always keeping in mind that, that my vision was a precious jewel, and that I didn't want any kind of energy thief coming in and stealing the initial purpose was. It was very precious to me, so I kept that close to my heart. And when I felt that that the compromises were coming in, or when I felt and I'm a very intuitive person, so I would say, if that's something that you use to navigate through business, like use it, because what is happening, if you feel it in your gut, it's happening.
It's happening.
And don't ignore it. Follow your gut. So I use that to prevent a lot of like you said, you're able to kind of see the shortcomings before you actually enter into the contract or the arrangement, and you're
Yes.
able to, like, bow out before it happened. So, you know, that's it. When you have a vision, guard it jealously, and also not everyone deserves access to it.
Mm.
And I've learned to not talk too much.
Yep.
Much,
Moving
and
silence.
then whatever that mini vision that was downloaded to you, and you're like, yeah, this is one, blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, can't nothing works. You can't get it off the ground because you've spoken too soon. So just be careful about what you share, or don't share at all until it actually happens, is probably the best advice I would give. And also surround yourself with people who can water your dreams,
Mm-hmm.
and not be that Sahara of negativity, and dry up your whole vision base. You don't want that at all. And every vision is real. And I have to say, the biggest I don't want to say crime, but the biggest tragedy is for someone who has a brilliant vision that was downloaded to them, and they died with it. They were buried with their vision.
Yes.
And that vision could have taken humanity forward. It could have been an invention that would have saved so many people. You never know.
Yep.
So,
I think it was Les Brown who said that there's a graveyard is full of innovation and dreams and visions that never came to life, that were buried with the person. And so, no matter how much it takes, I saw a post by one of my clients today, and she was like, shout out to all the entrepreneurs and the service workers and whatnot, because, she is a full-time entrepreneur now, and, she wasn't feeling well, but she knew she still had to show up for her consultation. She still showed up. She still, and that's the level that I want all business owners, operators, leaders, managers, service providers, product developers, whatever it is, understand that this is a marathon. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. This is not a sprint by any stretch of the imagination. And one of the things I learned over time was creating a million things doesn't equate to actual success. Yes. In fact, if I could go back 10, 15 years, I probably would have stayed with Hot City Buzz. Mm-hmm. And it was a good show. It was so much fun. We were drinking. We all were. Every show I had was like some alcohol. That's what
was going on.
That was always a party.
That was a buzz.
It was always a buzz. That was the whole Hot City Buzz. And and I wish, like, when I look back, it's like I'm still happy for the route I took, but I recognize that if we don't harness everything that comes from our head and really process it, like you said, test it out, see if it works. And here's the thing: don't test it on your warm market, test it on a cold market, right? Mm-hmm. Because your family and friends will always tell you that you're amazing, but that's one purchase, pretty much, right? And then you got to go out and find. And so the authenticity comes to me about being who I am. Like I tell people, you're either going to love me, you're going to hate me. Either way, I'm Miss J. Like it's not going to change, right? I'm going to get better over time. I'm not ever going to stay in one place. My evolution is mandatory, mm-hmm. right? Mm-hmm. And that's the energy I want to give to my clients. Like, just consistently remind yourself, authenticity is not getting online, throwing on these your posts and your stories, and no, it's raw. It's raw truth of, these are things I need to learn. These are things I need to know. These are things, the capacity I need to grow. And right. If you're honest with yourself on that, then you're always authentic, right? Because people are not going to see. People can see the switch. Like a lot of, especially women. I'm sorry, but people can see the switch because online they're this, that, and the other. And then when you see them in person, there's no substance. There's no nothing. And it's like, please stop. Just please. Stop. Just be you. If you didn't know, go learn.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you want everyone to know your name, go shake everyone's hand.
Do the work. Yeah. Do the work. I learned that. That's a very amazing sentiment that you shared, Ms. J, because I didn't it wasn't mentioned, but I did do a little kind of political endeavors, and that's one of the things that I learned was the canvassing part. Is that if you want people, if you want to call to action to something, you've got to be in the middle of it. You can't just hire a team out, just tell them what to do and vote for me, and I'll sit and drink champagne. No, you have to do
Right?
work.
Vote for me.
Vote for me, and I'll see you. You know, at the voting lines. No, you have to do the work. So I remember when I was canvassing, it was door to door, knock, knock.
Yep.
Hey, and
Yep.
I perfected like maybe like a 1 minute pitch just to get people to listen to me, and then it was, you know, one reaction or the other reaction, but either way, 10,000 doors knocked. You know, I know people have done more, and I wore out the soles of my shoes that I I wore that time when I was campaigning, and I took pictures of them. But it was like that was the biggest lesson for me. If you want to reach anyone, just be present.
Be present. People show up, and you know, in order to build community, you have to show up in the community, right? Like people would say, "Oh my God, you know everybody." No, I've been in the community my whole life, legit. Like summer camp and fall camp and this and like my whole life has been out there helping people to find access, to create equity, to create advocacy, to create diversity, to equalize the playing field, to move through the ranks of management as a Black woman. Like these are all things that I went through over 30 plus years. I've been coaching since I was 15 years old. I remember my first or second, like my first career job with the city was a girls club leader. And I had all my little girls, and we were doing activities and talking and empowering and this, that, and the other. And when I see people say they want to help people, but yet when we go to a networking event, you can't talk to nobody. Your mouth is closed. But then you jump online and now you're telling everybody buy your product. It doesn't.
Consistent.
But just a little bit, right? Just a little bit. So you're saying, you know, I love having this conversation, you know, with like-minded individuals, because it's not that we're saying, you know, we are saying you got to put the work in. Sorry, I was going to try to do some new school stuff, but I'm old school. You got to work hard, because you could have talent, but we say hard work outweighs talent all the time. Let's talk about what the power of vision means personally to Nikki Clark today.
It means seeing beyond the circumstances and choosing possibility over fear. That really is what it is. When I received this, I call it a divine whisper, to just take this leap of faith and to try with the show and to see what would happen. Yeah. There was a wall of fear that was presented to me in my mind, and then also external voices going, did you lose it? Do you need some help? Because I'm leaving, fairly, safe position, teaching, well paid, got a little bit of tenure that could happen in a few years, to just start a online show. What is the likelihood that it would grow to where it was? But I saw the vision.
You did.
And I said, I'm just going to stick with it, and I know it's going to pay off. And, Miss J, maybe you've experienced it, maybe not. But it was like very, very telling those early years who was going to be my cheerleader. And at some point when it got really hard with the funding, with coming up with the team, and at one point I was like, what is going on? I was very naive in that, you want to join the team, you must really love what this is about. But there was always some kind of agenda that popped up later, or there was some kind of someone planted an idea for them to kind of take ideas of the show and run with it. And I'm like, well, and to be honest with you, Mr., I'm not about I'm going to hoard my idea to myself. I'm not about that. I always believe there's enough pieces of the pie for everyone to share. So all you have to do is ask.
but that's it. I
The
think it's
mentorship, I would have given it to you for free,
it.
you know. But
It's
you showed your claws and your fangs, and I was like, well, this is not in alignment with my purpose. So
and I'm sure
don't let the door hit you in the back. You know what I mean? So finding the funding, finding the right people who were planted there to move the mission forward, that was a challenge. But when it came, it was like, oh, thank you, Lord, it's finally here. But to suffice that to say, sometimes you have to be your own cheerleader.
100%.
And when you do that work, you become very powerful.
Yes.
Because you're developing something in isolation.
Yeah, and you're
And it's only you
you're
and the higher power, putting this together and driving this mission.
100%. You're attracted and you attract.
Yeah.
I think that was the thing. There's numerous, like, to your point, we knew how to get where we were because it was always a community of us. Like, I've been, I coached basketball, I've coached dance, I've coached artists, I've coached models, I've coached business people, I've coached life, I've coached, right? And the one thing that that I always look for is that team, because to me, you're only as good as you're strong as your weakest link.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when you think about the people that you attract, I started questioning myself, like those people who would come in with the right intentions, but the hidden agendas. And then all of a sudden you're seeing your stuff mimic somewhere. And it's like, okay, I'm not saying that, it is what it is, but I always say, listen, imitate and never duplicate it. So feel free to try, because it won't have the same flavor. You know what I mean? Just like if I try to take your idea and run with it. And I think that level of integrity is what was missing in those days where people didn't appreciate the hard work you put in to bring that to life. Like, we didn't have those level of resources where we could just put a post up and thousands of people would see it. It was called the Yellow Pages. It was called a 4x6 flyer. Nobody even had a business card. We couldn't afford that. Back then, business cards was like prime real estate, right? Like, you were lucky if you could find and the promoters were just giving you like 1 million flyers, and we were still getting it done.
No chat GPT. You got to come up with your own words. And
right. You see what I'm saying?
No social media marketing coach. You got to do that on your own. Send emails yourself.
Thank you. What you know, virtual assistants. Yeah, you were the virtual assistant. It's crazy. I love the evolution of where we are today, though. I think I love the fact that we could sit here and say, remember when? I'm still 25 by all nature, but remember when is always a good thing. Let's talk about what's next in your vision. What's next in your vision, your story for 2025 and beyond?
Yes. Thank you. The next vision is, I think I've done quite a bit in terms of what I wanted to accomplish, and I'm very grateful to have achieved an honorary doctorate just last month in information management. So thank you. I'm very grateful. And the FIIM stands for fellow. Fellow is the highest achievement scholastically.
Okay.
Management. So
I was like, who's Sim? I've never seen those letters.
So that's what it is, fellow in information management. And it's from a university, an international university that supports people in the information management lane. And because of the Nikki Clark network and of the show, I've been able to, organize data, protect people's privacy, and that's all in the lane of information management. Now where I'm able to be a mentor. So that's the next phase. Nikki Clark's going to be doing. I work with high school students in the cooperative education space. So I'm teaching them video production. I'm teaching them broadcasting skills, graphic design, how to show up online or in-person space. And I'd like to do more work in terms of global speaking. I want to go to different venues, travel to different countries. I have a couple of speaking engagements already booked for next year where I can empower people, specifically women,
Yes.
and let them know that yes, they can, yes, they're enough, and they can do it.
Yes. Well,
People
this is the
see
reason why they call
the
us
two
mother.
sides. Absolutely. If people, and it's me. I allowed people to see, the journey that I've taken from teaching to where I am now. But there was a story before that,
Mhm.
um, and it's sometimes you have to come out of the ashes like the phoenix
Yes.
in order
Yes.
to be where you. And I was certainly there as a young mother, married, and doing my best as a wife and as a mother, and then the marriage didn't work out, and
Mhm.
having to figure out how to navigate raising three children as a single mother. Um, I was a stay-at-home mom, Miss J.
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, I had to pick myself up, find a job. I actually found three jobs, one per child.
There you go.
And
There
I
you
made it
go. You are
happen,
the A man. That's the A man era. We all lived in it.
Yeah,
A man,
I was actually lazy. I only had three,
only
as a
three.
Jamaican. Yeah,
But the
yeah,
hustle was
I
still real.
do. The
The hustle was still real.
hustle was real.
Let's just keep that
So
real. Let's just keep that real. I love it. I love it. Nikki, I want to thank you. Before she leaves the stage and I close up this show, Nikki is a singer, and I hope that we have her song queued up to exit out of our show. But just give them a little taste of the Nikki.
you want me to sing?
Yeah, girl, of course I want you to sing. I'm in this place. I have me some minutes, honey. I want to hear. I want to hear. I haven't heard you sing in so long, so I'm excited. I want to hear a little something and let the people know. Well, no.
How about something a cappella? 'Cause I
I
think
love it. Acapella's the way to go. I
here
love
we
it.
go. Just for you, Miss J.
Thank you.
A little Etta James. All right,
Hey,
here we go. At last,
sing it, girl.
my love has come along.
She's still singing.
Lonely days are over, and life is like a song. Oh yeah, at last, the skies above are blue.
Yes.
My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you. Oh yeah. Thank you.
I have her singing on my show, y'all. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Nikki, thank you so much. It's
Huge.
been, I can't tell you how euphoric this has been. Like, even though we've been connecting all week, today really just, it cemented that the things you've trailblazed, thank you. Thank you. And
My
thank you
pleasure.
some more. Okay. I'll see you backstage in a few minutes. Yo, shout it out. Make sure you are following. Let me put this slide up because I'm forever forgetting. Where's my slide, Mr. Did I stop sharing on my account here? Is this my fault that I'm not sharing? But make sure you are following Nikki Clark. Visit her website, the NikkiClarkNetwork.com. Make sure you're following her on IG, Nikki Clark Network. Get connected, stay connected, follow people who've been in the game for a very, very long time. I'm telling you, when I say to you, it is possible. We are going in 17, 20, 25 years of doing what we love, and we're not going to stop. If we can get there, you can get there. And sometimes it doesn't feel like it's going to happen, but you will turn around and 15, 20 years later, you're going to be on a show telling someone, just keep pushing. Now, before we take off, I want to ensure that I shout out an event that I saw coming from one of my ladies in the network. It's called Embers and Essence, a sacred exploration of desire and self-connection. Now, these pictures be looking all type of hot. So if you are interested in reigniting your inner flame and returning to your true essence, make sure you're checking out this event being hosted in, I think it's Ajax, that is coming up on November 23rd, 2025. So go in, check it out. Early bird tickets are $97, and there's a great, I think with that you get something like a $699 like gift pack or something But hey, don't quote me. Check it out. Make sure you get yourself a ticket and head out. I want you to remember, if you're not following me, jump on my IG, Empire by Design _. And I'm looking for more and more entrepreneurs who are trying to not just make a change for themselves and their lifestyle, but are trying to make a change for the communities that they serve. Why? Because vision requires both imagination and discipline, right? Success is never random. It's rehearsed through clarity. So I want to encourage all of you to revisit your vision boards, which I'm highly against. If you have pictures and you are not actually making them come to life, rip the vision board down and put up an action board and rewrite one statement that reflects who you are becoming now, okay? Because that's what is the root of the vision, okay? So before we close out, I want you to remind yourself to subscribe to Love Bae, follow Love Bae. Make sure you're checking out my show. There's past shows. If you haven't got it, hit the replay on this show because Nikki is dropping gems and I want you to scoop them all up and put them into your treasure chest. As always, remember, when your vision is powerful, it doesn't just move you forward, it pulls you higher. And as you know, your girl, Miss J, is not just your drip strategist and boss methodologist. I always say that if you keep your head in the skies and spread your wings, then you have the ability to fly. So keep joining me each week right here on Business Weekly, here on Love Bae Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. Let's build something legendary. And as always, wings up and let's fly. Talk to you later. Have a good show.